Hi everyone, and welcome to my presentation of Discerning Community Agriculture, or DECA. Um, Jumping right in. Our mission is to create wellness and abundance in our communities through the acts of collective gardening and farming and the associated activities, as well as creating communal agency and inclusion in the fresh food industry. So we do this through our here it is listed as three, but there are actually, in fact, four branches of service. And as we develop our identity, these, these branches are being refined a little bit as we go. So instead of brands, these branches are now departments or initiatives, branches, if you will. So we have the Backyard Farming Cooperative, which handles networking initiatives and community building. DECA City Provisions, which handles nutrition and food initiatives. And DECA City Farms, which handles environmental initiatives and farm operations. The fourth, as I mentioned, is called House of Minna, and this is our wellness branch where all of our wellness activities will occur. Yoga.meditate.create is our primary wellness activity or initiative under that branch. And we've been working with a local gallery called SO Arts. Lots of young folks who are looking for something different than the typical party scene and would like to, at least in the words of the owner, one of the owners, create a new start to the week. So I, as a ERYT 500, meaning I've done about 1,000 hours plus of yoga teacher training. I offer a pay what you can donation based class here at the studio at the gallery, and all of the proceeds go towards our nonprofit DECA City Farms, or Discerning Community Agriculture, excuse me. And anyone that cannot pay for a class or pay for the donation is we make a trade available where they can volunteer for an hour or as many hours as they would like to in exchange for going to class. So this has been a really excellent initiative. Getting people to move, getting people to connect to their bodies, also create community in a new way, and get some new faces at the garden. So this has been really fun. We've probably had since February about 150 guests on our weekly class. Summertime slows down quite a bit, but I think once the fall comes back, we'll be at even higher numbers. One of the pretty amazing outcomes of having this program here is, of course, just getting to meet new people and telling them what we're about and hearing what their concerns are just in their daily lives. But we've also gotten really great donations. So this is one donation from a young woman who worked at a local garden center and donated probably about, I would say, close to $600, anywhere from $600 to $800 worth of seeds to our organization in the early spring. And that was wonderful. Gave us a nice leg up. And then we also, again, have young artists creating, and it is wonderful to continue to be a muse for these young folks in what DECA is up to. You can see there, this is a rendering of the Rider-Waite tarot card, the Ten of Cups, which is the idea of abundance. And so they've created a little garden there and some folks doing yoga. It's really fun, and I really appreciate it. We also have some more prominent artists coming through, local artists. Keisha Finney, who had been inspired by our work and included my face in her latest project. And also, she asked what kinds of things I like to grow and created that as the backdrop there. So that's really fun. And so, what we do is, sort of spark ideas, spark initiative, get people putting their hands in the dirt and seeing what is created out of that. And that is the foundation of what DECA is. It started out in 2020, and my partner at the time, had a small garden in New Holland, and I had been working on hydroponic gardening in Lancaster, and we joined forces in order to create this farming initiative. Much of our work was based around what happens when you're in an urban environment and don't have access to green space. How can we grow food for ourselves and become sufficient? And then how can we create a business structure that benefits the community as well financially? And as we continue to refine and grow and establish who we are, that'll become more apparent. Excuse me. So here is an example of some of the projects that we have been up to. That is my neighbor, Bob Bailey. And he was very interested in some of the mushrooms that we were growing during the winter time and was just really impressed by the quantity we were able to grow in our basement. So this is soon to become a revenue stream for us and the nonprofit. And then we also connect with community members. This is Alex. She and her sister run Zotropolis, as well as Elfin, a local hair salon. And they donated a whole bunch of cardboard boxes for our garden space, as you can see there. This year we used cardboard. We also worked with our local coffee shop, Square One Coffee. They're pretty big now and have stores in Philly and beyond. We have been using burlap sacks from them and created a sort of 3-layer weed suppression system with cardboard, burlap bags, that black weed cloth, and then mulch, sawdust. So getting into the good stuff, we have our volunteer day flyer here. This was our first spring volunteer day, and as you can see, it was pretty rainy, but we had lots of fun folks come out, and it was a really good time. And moving in chronological order, just as a little, to diarize just a little bit, the next thing we were able to participate in was the Food Security Conference, or I should say, Fighting Food Insecurity, that gave us some new statistics on what the face of food insecurity looks like in Lancaster County, since there really hasn't been an accurate measurement taken since pre-COVID-19 or 2009, or maybe it was 2019, excuse me. So I was blessed to be involved in the working group to create this report. And there was a beautiful presentation at the Ware Center, and where local nonprofits were in attendance and able to connect and talk about their initiatives. One of our newest partners. They're called Blackbirds Go. And Blackbirds is in a youth-focused environmental activism group who have now become a part of DECA and our nonprofit structure. This is an event that they held right downtown at, I think it's called Creativity Park, where the head of this organization, Zishan Ismet, had garnished a number of 55-gallon buckets and cut them in half and got donations from that local gallery, SO Arts, as well as some other locations for paint and spray paint. And we were able to create a really awesome event with a lot of eyes on it. You can see the cross streets in the background there. That's Prince Street and Orange Streets. I'm sorry, Chestnut Streets, which is one of the major sort of thoroughfares in our downtown area. So a lot of people were able to witness passively the work that was going on with DECA, Blackbirds, and the rest of the crew. Boys and Girls Club came out with a group of their kids. There were a couple other PCAD students and just folks off the street who wanted to participate. So it was a very fun event. Next is again, sort of chronologically speaking, our next event was with our next partner, Lancaster City Gardening Friends, who is now heading the Backyard Farming Cooperative branch of DECA. And as you can imagine, they are a networking group of folks in Lancaster City who are come together over their love of gardening. And we were able to have a volunteer day with them, which was a lot of fun. I think everybody had a ton of fun. We made some new friends, new connections, gained some new resources, and it was just great overall. So as we continue to work together, we also received a pretty big donation of seeds from Home Depot. We'll be able to have sort of a seed swap and seed share and bring people together and also have them benefit from coming together through sharing of resources. Now, this is another fun pick from the day. Some of the projects that we're working on in the garden are using alternative methods of growing food. And what you're seeing here is our self-watering buckets. We created in early spring probably about 20 buckets that we were growing tomatoes, broccoli, some herbs, a lot of those early veggies that come out, onions, leeks. That was a really fun experiment, and we will continue to use those, show them off in demonstrations, and scale them for our upcoming projects. One place where we were able to demonstrate some of our techniques were at this So We block party, where we were able to have a table. There's our volunteer, Nikisha, who is amazing. She was working with the young folks, creating a fun toy called grass heads, which is just like this fun craft, which will grow grass seeds and you decorate it. So it has a little face, and the kids really loved making it. And they went home with instructions and their cups, and they had a great time. As you can see in the foreground, I have a demonstration of our Kratky lettuce growing box, which is just really lettuce in a Tupperware container filled with water. And it's literally the easiest way to grow greens in a little bit of space, and you don't need dirt. So the easiest hydroponic method that exists, Kratky method. We also were able to show up with Turn Up for Love, which is another partner newly added to the DECA roster. And Turn Up for Love, their specialty is community meal shares, where they will provide a free meal out in the city. They will set up at local parks and have a table and just serve food to folks. They ran into a little bit of trouble the same time we did with the need for a service kitchen or a commissary. So partnering made a whole lot of sense to be able to share that burden, share the costs, and share the benefits as well. So our table was really popular this day. It was a hot day, and Turn Up for Love brought oranges, we brought juice, and a couple of other fruits for people to consume while they were out. And it was all free, and people really appreciated that. There's, you can see on the left, one of the most creative grass heads that was made in the day. And then another young girl who decided she wanted to take the decorations on herself. So it was a great opportunity to meet the community in the SoWe neighborhood of Lancaster, and also make sure that they knew who we were and that we're here to serve. Soon after that, again, I had mentioned we had trouble trying to acquire a community kitchen, and we ran a Facebook fundraiser. And we were blessed by a company called Dash for Him, who finalized our fundraiser by donating the last $200 that we were asking for in order to get a proper hand washing equipment so that we can be mobile with our services and still within the health and safety codes of Lancaster. So thank you for for him. Here is our next volunteer day that occurred in June 11th. We had a big group come out for that. That was a lot of fun. Here is our lettuce bed. We were cutting baby greens for days. This bed is about an 6x6 bed, just broadcast with seeds. With our volunteer group, we had decided to chaos plant. And so there was no rhyme or reason, no straight lines in the way we planted our vegetables in the garden space this year. And that was really fun, just to let people be free with it, and also reinforce that there's no right way to do it. And it also sort of taught us some lessons on what to do or how to manage, how to pivot when, maybe things are overcrowded or getting burnt by the hot sun. We could quickly plant a tomato to cover up some tender greens because the tomato grows fast and tall. So that was a fun exercise for everybody. There's another photo of our early bed of Swiss chard, some flowers, a couple of weeds there, but that was a fun bed and is now really overflowing. And some more photos from our harvests. We have some mushroom mycelium in the straw mulch of the beds, and we're able to grow a few mushrooms this year. Unfortunately, the dry spell really cut everything off early, but we were able to harvest some mushrooms early, so that was nice. Then we have some black basil, and of course a really beautiful bull's blood Swiss chard. With those early greens, we were able to process them and freeze dry them, turn them into a green powder that we will create as a retail product. that is rich in nutrients, very accessible, and 2 tablespoons of this powder in your spaghetti sauce, in your stew, and anything that you're creating is the equivalent of 2 cups of vegetables servings. So a great way to get nutrition when folks maybe don't have access. Here's another just quick note, a tip for everyone. If you have your Google location, if you use Chrome and you have your location services on, this was a really easy way to keep track of all the times that I would go to the garden, and it would mark it with how much time we were there, what day, and of course there's a map as well, so I could just zoom in onto the map and click that little symbol and it would show me all the times I was there. So if all of you are having any trouble keeping track of your times and dates, please use your Google location services and then you can check it in your Google account. It's very, very simple. Little tip for you. Next, we go into our local partnerships, and actually not so local partnerships. This here is Tasha. She is from Planet Bees Foundation, which is actually out in California, and they have sort of branches of and project managers all over the country. Tasha's out of Harrisburg, and somehow, luckily, and we are very grateful, DECA came onto the radar of this organization who is looking to transfer a beehive from Philadelphia to our new location. And so we're very excited to work with them. And they also, this is our new location here. It's very exciting. We'll talk about that a little more in a bit. But we're very excited to work with Planet Bees and receive bees to help pollinate all of our garden veggies. And they also were able to hook us up with some volunteers from Giant Foods, and you'll see some photos of that towards the end. We've also partnered with a local bar and amusement area entertainment center called Sickman's Mill. Really great tubing through the creek of the Conestoga. And it's just a beautiful location. They've expanded their kitchen space, and we're really happy to be servicing them by bringing them fresh produce, working with local farmers in our area to basically distribute their goods through DECA to our local businesses in order to keep everything local, keep it low cost, and supporting our community at large. We've also partnered with a small deli and corner store downtown called Smiley's Deli. They've been in business for almost 30 years now. And we have, in collaboration with the Food Trust out of Philadelphia, have supported their desire to provide fresh fruits and vegetables. So we're really excited for that, to be able to help a whole new neighborhood have access to fresh produce. As I mentioned earlier, we've been refining our mission as we go. And here is just one post that we shared with our community as far as our intention. That DECA will act as a nonprofit umbrella for local organizations wanting to join forces and increase our impact to address food justice and wellness-related issues facing our community. And we've partnered, our first partner, again, was Turn Up for Love, and this is our little announcement flyer for that. And we have grown and created an even nicer, bigger flyer. This is a threefold or trifold flyer here. This is the back side, and the front side gives a bit of information of all of the organizations we are partnered with now. It's very exciting. This is the dream. It's coming true and it's great. So we had our first community meal share event with our new partner, Turn Up for Love, in our new kitchen, which was provided by Rachel's Cafe and Creperie. So she and this space will act as our new commissary. We've created an agreement with her so that DECA can create their food products, like I showed you, our mushrooms, our freeze-dried powders, and we can create them inside of the kitchen in order to, fulfill all the health and safety requirements. And Turn Up for Love can cook their meals or heat them up for service to the community. This day that you are seeing, we had a test run just to make sure we knew what we were doing in the kitchen. We also took a lot of video and created content for this organization, headed solely by who you see here, Mark and Emily. They, out of the kindness of their hearts, cook food for the community. Like I said, they ran into a little bit of a hiccup with health and safety requirements, but now we are sharing the space and sharing the burden and sharing the benefits, which is a lovely dinner. There's Rachel on the left. And it was a great time. So the next photo, I think, is the actual event. You can see more videos on our Instagram and our Facebook page. Also, Turn Up for Love Instagram page. I can't show videos on this little thing, so you just get to see a couple of photos. We had a volunteer crew in the kitchen helping out, building community amongst themselves, and really feeling great about who they are and what they're up to. We've also created partnership with Pennsylvania Interfaith Power and Light, and their focus on saving our local Chesapeake watershed. So they had an event where they were giving out rain barrels, and we were able to assist with that, and we are very happy to do so. There's a little bit of our harvest at the garden. This is probably only just a couple of weeks ago. So things are finally in bloom and looking good, abundant. And this was just 2 weeks ago, working with our Giant Foods volunteers to break ground in our new location at Reedy Lane. So you can see that photo on the right there. We were just creating the ground space, mulching, and de-weeding the space so that it will be easy for us to use. And there's a little teaser of how we'll be using the space. What you see here is a floodplain. Off screen to the right is the creek, which experienced its 100-year flood just about 3 or 4 years ago now. So the area floods often, and we are here to show that we can use this quote-unquote unusable space and create our hydroponic and aquaponic setups in this space, and really put this green space to good use. And when the flood comes, we can hook up our van or our trucks to these trailers and pull our beds out of harm's way. So we're very excited to continue with this initiative and be able to scale our production of vegetables. We're also given a ongoing and extremely generous donation of wood from the Porsche dealership in Westchester. That's a whole story there. You can go to my Instagram to hear a little bit more about that in a post. Look for the storm cloud post. But it ended up being a really great opportunity to expand our community and receive a very generous offer because y'all know how expensive lumber is these days. So that's everything. I know we were only supposed to go to 7 minutes, but here's a whole lot more for you. So I appreciate your attention and your time. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. Don't use that phone number. It doesn't really work anymore. Email is the best way to get a hold of me. Thank you so much, and